Man, I had a show with another special edition. You know, I'm on this expedition of unique, extraordinary individuals, and this brother right here is another extraordinary individual that I've come to admire. I've always admired him actually a lot. I believe any man that's doing it his way, without question, should always, that man or woman should be admired. So saying all that, Derrick McKinney, CEO or president, I don't know which one you prefer. Okay, CEO of
janitor,
L.O.U.D Music
bus
Group.
driver, CP, whatever it takes.
Now, before I get into all the deep stuff, so you're not only a record company, you're a management company.
Yes.
Name your artists on the management side, and then give me the artists on the music side.
So on the management side, we have Zero,
Obviously.
Mo City Don, King of the Ghetto. We have Lil Flip, and we also have the Dallas artist Fat Pimp on the management side.
Okay.
On the label side of things, we have Tim Ned, producer, artist, singer, songwriter. We have Khody Blake, triple threat, phenomenal artist. We have the young lady Skyra Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a group.
She's out there working hard.
Yes, nobody outworks Skyra
She's
on the planet. We also have a group called the Art of Ratchet, where we took Tim Ned and Fat Pimp and put them in the group together.
Okay.
And that's been an amazing ride so far. We're just getting started. And then we have some other artists in the development. We just launched our R&B and soul division of the label called Division Music. And we have a young lady named Asia. She's going to be phenomenal for us. And we've brought on board the Houston singer Great House. You know, he does all the Motown reviews, your Sam Cooks, your Luther Vandross. So we're building a true R&B and soul division. Like, love music. We're going to go through the relationships, the heartache, the pain. That's my favorite genre of music anyway. So we're going to have fun with that. So that's our whole team as of now. But we have some other artists in the wings that are in the development process that we're growing and getting them right before we move them over.
Okay. Not only do you do that, he also creates, I like that word better, events, music festival, if you will, events. And so we'll get into that too, because I know you have one coming up here. So we'll talk about that too. But I want to go back to the beginning of Derrick McKinney.
Yeah.
I understand from San Antonio, but raised and given some of that good stuff from H-Town, Houston, Texas. What's that ride? What was that ride like from San Antonio? And can you see the obvious, I'm saying it already, differences in the two places?
Oh, 100%. I'd never wanted to move to Houston because 10 years old, 11 years old, your parents divorcing, and you're like, man, I don't want to leave my family, all my friends. That's all I knew.
Right.
But my mom, being the mother that she is, saw it like, no, let's go here, create more opportunities. She worked her butt off. We moved here. And it wasn't, I wouldn't say a week after moving, I knew, okay, now I feel at home.
Really?
I felt like Houston fit my personality very early. Because as a kid, I was literally the kid that was winning every contest at school. Who sells the most candy? The bike rodeo, with the most raffle tickets. I would get my Halloween candy.
Beginning.
Yeah, I was selling my Halloween candy the next day at school.
Really?
Like, that was literally things that I was
Who put
doing.
that in you? Do you know?
It just came naturally. I've always wanted to own something.
Was it about the money? Like, what makes the kid wake up in the morning? You know, basically your baby. Wake up in the morning.
I've been a shoe fanatic from day one. Okay. I've been a Nike fanatic. I've always loved buying clothes and shopping and hanging out. Like I said, I knew it took money to do it, but I didn't necessarily do it for the money. I've always wanted the success of what it can do, of what I could do. I used to get with the Right On magazine, they used to have the DJ equipment in the background, in the back pages, $1,100, 2 Technique 1200s, this Newmark mixer, a microphone, and this monitor. And so I wrote out a plan in my school supplies, gave it to all my aunts and uncles. So if everybody give me $100, this is what I can do. They didn't take me serious. Nobody gave it to me, but I knew I wanted to own and do something at a very, very early age.
How was school for you in Houston?
School in Houston, school was always easy for me.
Was it?
I was unfortunately I was the class clown. But
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I was the class clown.
I don't see you trying to make people laugh and being that guy.
I always make the teachers laugh.
Okay.
The teachers, Derrick, you're funny. Yes, you did. So I wouldn't get in trouble until I had my English teacher, my sophomore year, Miss Lowery. I love this lady to this day. She said, Mr. McKinney, don't ever darken my doorstep again. I was like, what happened? She said, you finished your work, but I was too much of a distraction to everybody else. So because I finished mine and I got good grades, I didn't realize that I'm slowing up my partners. I'm slowing up my homegirls because, hey, I got mine done. It's on y'all now. So that next year, first day of school, I didn't have her on my schedule. I went and begged, please let me back in your class. Please, I gotta have you. She said, nope, nope, nope. I begged her every day for like a week. Then she finally got my counselor and they changed my schedule. And that teacher helped me understand that, okay, Derrick, you have influence over people. If you do things a certain way, this is how you influence the rest of the class.
Wow.
And that's when I knew that I had some level of influence and I could use it in a good way.
Were you interested in music at that time, or is this something that came later on?
So I've been a music lover. My parents were the parents that would have house parties and all my family would go get together and we'd have CDs for days. So I was always listening to Hall & Oates, Phil Collins, Midnight Star, Atlantic Star, Kashif, Alexander O'Neal.
You sound like good parents.
Yeah, so I was jamming at an early age and I just always had a love for it. I didn't think I would get into the music business because I hit that phase where, okay, I'm a sports guy. Right. I love sports, football. But then I knew like, man, I don't want to go to college for football.
What happened? Did something happen?
I didn't want to go to college. I did not want to go to college.
Was there any particular reason why you just thought, I'm just not a fan. I don't want to do any more school. I'm done with this.
I told my dad, why am I going to pay them $40,000, $50,000 to make a job to make $30,000, $40,000? And he's like, do you have a plan? I said, yeah, I think I'm going to work and I want to own my own business. And me and my 5 homeboys, and they still my brothers to this day, we used to go out to clubs 7 days a week. We would leave Oasis on a Sunday night and go to the school parking lot and sleep in the parking lot and take a shower in the locker room and go to class. We was at Jamaica on Tuesdays. Wow. We was at Roxy on Wednesdays, Metropolis on Thursdays.
Damn, that's all the spots.
Yeah, we was Coco Loco on Fridays, Oasis Saturday and Sunday.
You naming all of them. That's all the spots.
And that
was the spot.
And it got to the point to where I was able to meet the club owners. And one day I went out to my car and it was like 8 flyers on the window. And I was asking, bro, why are you putting all these flyers on my window? Man, I get $500 a week from every flyer. I did the math. I went home and called every flyer. I could do this for $300 a week. I had 4 of them give me a shot. So me and my homeboys was going out every night, passing out flyers, but that we got in the club free. I would tell the owner of Jamaica, what's his name? Paul? Paul, yeah. Paul.
But I think the other cat worked there too, though, but Paul.
Yeah. So I was like, man, listen, I'm 17. These are my boys. We're passing out flyers. I promise we will not drink. We will not have no fights. We just want to dance, holler at the DJ, and meet girls. He said, you ain't gonna start nothing? I said, I promise. Let me in. And so people would be like, Jamaica have a long line. And we walk right up to the front and people like, so it felt great and it just came so natural. Then same thing at Maxie's, same thing. And I was always a natural people person. I said, hey man, listen, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. My 2 homeboys like, yeah, man, this is the rap group from Atlanta. They in town this weekend. I'm bringing them to meet the DJ. Nah, this is just my same boys. I went every week and going to the club. And it just came so natural. And then people like, hey, man, can you get the DJ to play my record? Okay, cool. I used to help GT unload his Suburban and carry crates of records into the club, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I remember getting to the venues and learning, okay, GT is going to drink Red Stripe. IC drinks a French Connection or a Miller Lite. Walter D don't really like to be bothered when he's DJing, so send him a bottle of water, leave him alone. Goldfinger over at Jamaica, send him whatever. He taking shots, and it. Just all came so natural.
Well, why were you learning this? Do you know why or that's just?
You know what? I have no clue, but I can't say I woke up one day and like, yes, I want to be in the music business. We were hanging out. I was getting paid to go to concerts. I was getting paid to get T-shirts and CDs and posters. I was getting paid to go to all my favorite clubs and get in free. Like, how could we not? Like, man, I had ended up getting the account to do the marketing for the Kappa Beach party.
Okay, that's big.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I met one of the owners. We was in Scores. If you know about Scores, you know about Scores.
Yes.
And we were I was telling him about what I could do. I said, yeah, man, they got this thing in New Orleans coming up called the Easter Jam. Me and my homeboys, we can go down there, pass out flyers, give it the radio station, do some ticket giveaways. We can get a bunch of people from Louisiana to come. It was like, well, how much it costs? It costs $1,500 to rent a car, and I need to get 2 hotel rooms. 2 days later, they called me, gave me an envelope of cash, gave me the keys to rent a car, had 10,000 flyers in the back. Mind you, me and my homeboy, my best friend, my brother Ezon, we had never left Texas. We had no clue. I didn't know anybody in New Orleans. We didn't know anything.
Wow.
We drove. We got to Lake Charles in 2 hours. We here. We didn't know them other 4 hours coming.
Yes, sir.
And it was brutal. But we got there, man, and we hit the streets. Somehow, Q93, L Boogie, LaMonda Williams was the PD at the time. No, I'm sorry. She was over at the other station. Uptown Angela was at Q93.
Uptown Angela.
We got to the New Orleans Superdome at the time. Gave the radio DJs like, hey, we're from Texas with the Kappa Beach party. We're here to give out some tickets to get the people from Louisiana to come. So they got on the radio. We got free tickets to anybody who want to go to the Kappa Beach party in Galveston, Texas. If you got your tickets for the Easter Jam, here you go. The Easter Jam was Cash Money, No Limit, Murder Inc., 8Ball and MJG, DMX and the Rough Riders, Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z. Like, this was a concert.
That concert tour came through here too.
Oh man, it was an amazing. And we had front row tickets with the radio station. We sitting there kicking it. And literally, I did not know a soul prior to getting to the city. They said the hotel rooms, and they got their report from the Kappa Beach party. They said they saw an increase of close to 120,000 people come to Galveston from Louisiana. They gave me the credit for doing it. So guess what the next year they did? Here's a bigger check. I got the Rough Riders to come. I had the owners of FUBU come. Remember we went to dinner that time?
I don't remember this.
In Galveston, we went to a restaurant called
No, that's a lie. I do remember that.
When the owners of FUBU.
I do remember that.
We all went to dinner.
At that one little food place.
The restaurant was closed down. They opened it up for us.
I do remember that. I didn't even realize that I'd known you that long, Derrick.
I was the person that got FUBU to come to the Kappa Beach party.
I did not know that.
And you was like, no, I'm paying for my own food. I don't want nobody to think I owe them nothing.
See, I told y'all, that's me, man.
So,
I'm always solo. Like, I don't trust nobody. I don't want nobody to think that, I just took something from you, so now I owe you something.
Yeah, nah, definitely, man.
The downfall of Mad Hatter.
Nah, I wouldn't say that, man. I said the integrity of Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
But we just...
Damn, Derrick, you know what? First, let me apologize. I didn't realize that I'd known you that long, and that's exactly why I do this. It's very selfish, because you hear these stories, and then it's all these different pieces and parts of people that you don't even know that you broke bread with, and you didn't know that you was even literally breaking bread with.
So do you remember the first Super Bowl that was here? And they had that old car dealership across the street from Sharpstown Mall as one of the venues and one of the event spaces?
With Dame? No, that's not Dame Dash.
Yeah, Dame Rockefeller. They all came down.
Was that during that football time? I do remember that. Yeah, it was a car place. Yeah, Sharpstown Mall. Yeah. I'm thinking the other side of the street, but this was directly across the street. I do remember that.
So do you remember getting the Negro League jersey with the patches on the sleeve?
I still have that. The brown one?
I was the marketing director. I was the person that gave it to you.
Wow.
I was the one that gave it. I gave Slim his throwback jersey. I
still have that.
Yeah.
And I got the hat to go with it.
We took that company from $8 million a year to $22 million in 3 years.
Wow.
And that's why I quit.
Because
my check didn't increase. It wasn't commission.
So for the obvious reason, I had to listen to it.
Yeah, I quit.
It's amazing to know that you know these people, but you don't remember their roles in some of the things that you were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And again, let me apologize. I do this a lot these days because I was so super focused on the prize, which was cash, that I miss so much out here. So that's why it's sad that you can say, hey, remember when we did this? And I'm like, no, but yeah, you're telling me the story.
Yeah.
So I know this is all 100,000% true. But I was so focused, man. I didn't see a lot and I missed a lot. You know what I'm saying? But
I think it's one of them things where I would go as far as to say is you probably missed a lot of bullshit too. So,
well, thank you. That's fair to say.
So
but you do miss a lot of people. I missed a lot of people, man. And people that say things to me now, I feel like I have to apologize for being super focused and not realizing that other people misunderstood your being focused.
Yeah. Well, I say this, I'm not one of the people that misunderstood because I'm that way. I'm obviously my blinders are on
to get Dame Dash where he was, and I don't even remember they tore down that place. The only time I was there, so I don't know what happened to that place. But it was very unique in what we did. Dame Dash is very interesting as well. Obviously, you know that already. What a history. So again, that's why I do this, man. This very obvious history of me knowing you, but you've branded L.O.U.D so well in my brain. I don't remember anything pre-L.O.U.D music.
And that's intentional, boss. That's intentional.
It's sad too, because the things you're telling me, I do remember, but I don't remember.
Well, I'm saying it's intentional from the aspect of I own and created this.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I've never liked in the entertainment industry were the guys who have their Al Bundy stories. Their success is those 4 high school touchdowns. I want to be known for what I've built and what I've created.
But you've been building and creating the whole time. I mean, you're telling me of how you started, where you started, and how you've continued to build. So the pre-L.O.U.D music and the events that you do are just as important, or probably more important. You think that this part of the story is the most important. Without that part of the story, this story can't even be told.
I dig it.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, foul on me because I missed a lot of people who did a lot of important things because of my super hyper focus. And I remember them for who they are now. I don't remember all the things they did then. And I like to. So that's what this is all about.
But there's some cool stuff, man. I brought the Chopper Style record to Texas.
Don't remember that.
Yeah, Mr. Magic, I Smoke, I Drink. GT was the first person to break that record.
I believe it. GT was the first. GT broke my record down south first. A lot of people don't know that. He was the first person to play that record. I know the club. It was the club out there in Nassau Road 1. Connections.
Yeah.
He was the first person to play it. I saw the reaction the very first time he played it, which was, I knew it was a hit that first night.
We were in Austin for the Texas Relays. Mm-hmm. And Roy Jones Jr. had came down on his private plane. He had just signed Chopper. He had Magic and everybody. And Magic had just finished the song. The Youngbloods wasn't even on it yet. And I was like, just teach him the hook. Just go teach him the hook. And he got on the stage and said, everybody just repeat the hook. I smoke, I drank. And GT was the first DJ on the planet to have that record.
Really?
And they dropped it. And from the Texas Relays on, that record was a complete no-brainer.
See, that was a special time when you go to the club and for the first time you hear a record and that feeling you get when you just think you heard probably the dopest thing that you're ever going to hear in life.
Oh my goodness.
We don't have those moments no more because now you get it on TikTok.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, you're not. It's 3 million plays on TikTok. So you playing for the first time, you're the 3 million one.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Yeah, it's not the same. But I'm not dissing it though. Don't get me wrong. Things change and you gotta go with those changes. You're a part of that system. So, things do change. Mr. D, amazing story. So I'm hearing that it sounds like your whole career is accidental, not on purpose, but with purpose.
Yeah.
Understand?
I talked myself into the situation because I felt like I didn't have any place to go here to get what I wanted. Like I wanted to be the next Berry Gordy, the next Clive Davis. Like, why don't we have an Interscope Records in Houston? Why don't we have those? And I've always how are we the most diverse city in the country, but our music industry is so segregated? Only thing that brings Houston together are three things: food, sports, and screw. Like those are the three things that can cross all boundaries in Houston. And I just feel like we've missed so many opportunities.
Well, I think, from the musical standpoint, I think that we had a foothold in the music game, and something in the early 2000s, around 2002, 3, 4ish, something happened. The music looked like the music bed went to ATL and it never left.
You know what I think? And I could be completely wrong.
Sure.
What song, one of the things that Houston did not have, most of our artists that blew up were their CEOs. And who did they pull in behind them?
Because you're saying it was just them. So their most important artist was themselves.
So there was no legacy. There was no tree. There was no, you can start with a Lil Jon tree, and you can you're gonna get Lil Jon the East Side Boys. You get, they sprinkled the Yin Yang Twins. He did the Usher Yeah record. Then you got Youngbloods, who he did the Damn record. And then you can take different parts of Atlanta, and there was always 6, 7, 8 different people operating at the same time. And then they would collaborate. Then they would hit the road together. I think there was no executive decision in Houston being made to say, hey guys, y'all do this collaboration, and then we're gonna hit the road together. And then you make sure you sign this person, you be on their single, and let's push that one just like while we're pushing this one. I don't think there was enough strategy.
I think there was a lot of things. I think also even radio stations played a part, and I can say that because obviously I was at a radio station. I think the part they play is radio stations have always been not a place of locality. And what started to happen in the late 90s, early 2000s, radio stations started to super serve home. New York always did it. Mm-hmm. And then whatever they did, the rest of the country did.
Right.
And then late 90s, like I said before, we started to have, in the 90s, we started to have true breakouts of a lot of different artists from different places. And radio stations were late to let's embrace and I think in Houston, we were heavily rap. The rappers were embraced. I think we missed out, in my opinion, on the R&B.
We definitely did, because
that's just my opinion though. And I worked in the system. So
when
I'm
you
not
look
trying
at
to step on
every major R&B artist that's touring, their background singers and their musicians are all people from Houston.
Yeah, this is true. This is facts.
And it's been that way for years. So it's why can't
even on the gospel side, when they speak of the best singers in Houston, right now you're going to get Khody, you'll get Brian. Who else let me stop, because everybody be like, you missed that person. But there's so many of them.
So why hasn't there been a hub for these people to say you don't have to outsource and go do background vocals? You can actually let's create your own record. Let's create your own system. Let's build your own community. Let's get your own followers and fans and release your music. That's 100% what L.O.U.D Music is trying to do.
I don't know why that industry didn't get created. I don't know if LaFace Records being in ATL changed the scope of that city, because I think they didn't think, first of all, Babyface wasn't thinking about putting out rappers from ATL. He was thinking about making R&B records for the world. So I think that partially could have been what it was. I think a lot of the R&B artists, in my opinion, here was slept on because, they weren't given opportunities like the rappers were.
So, and the rappers who were the CEOs weren't signing. Come to a hook.
Yeah, perhaps, everybody can take a little fault in the pie, but ultimately,
I don't think there's one answer.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think, it's still up to the individuals to make things happen.
One of the challenges that I know I've faced personally is that, and it goes back to what you just said. I don't ever say, let's make this record for Houston.
No doubt.
And in doing something with like Khody Blake, there's not a record he can make that would be believable that this is for Houston. Khody is too big of of a star.
But I think that's the new generation too, man. I think there was a sense of pride with the sound of the city back in the 90s, early 2000s. I think this generation of kids, like you got Tisa, you got, even if you name the rappers in the city, the sound is so diverse now.
We have a record called Texas. It's the Art of Ratchet featuring Zero.
Right.
I've had Houston DJs tell me this record sounds too local. Yes. Would they ever tell 2 Chainz this record sounds too Atlanta? Are they telling YG, this record sounds too LA? I've had Houston DJs tell me, this record sounds too local, man. It sounds too local. I was like, oh, because it's our culture, it's our identity. This song is about Texas. It's about Houston. The video, everything about it. We're at the Toyota Center. We by the mural wall. Like, we're showing you the city. Now, SiriusXM thought it was great.
And they played it.
BET, MTV Revolt thought it was great.
They played it.
But you'll have somebody from that city will tell you this sounds too local.
I think you got to fight those things. I think a lot of times everybody like to say, oh, we get hate from the city. And so I never try to get into that because if you go to ATL, there will still be people there in ATL that will say the same thing about their city.
It's every
but
city.
As you sit out here from the outside, you're like, yeah, y'all have like 100 superstars in your city. Though. I don't know how you're saying that, but there's, little Bucky who ain't getting his shot, so he feels like he's being slighted.
Yeah.
So I think you can always get that. That's unfortunate. I think it was a great record. I think, especially today, records that take pride in their city, I think you kind of embrace it.
It should win.
Because, I think you kind of embrace it.
It should win.
And that record didn't sound like a real Texas record to me too. I think they said the word Texas.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, man, the production sounds.
Yeah, the production could have been ATL.
It could have been anywhere.
It could, no doubt.
But I know, I know that we hit a lot of obstacles and hurdles just for the simple fact.
But you didn't let that stop you.
Oh hell no. It's because we don't play by, I'll say, these rules.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when we went to the Grammy Awards last year, I'm sitting there and I'm texting my team the whole time. We got to change this. We got to do this better. Because I'm not going to play by the rules here when the rest of the world is playing by these rules.
Mm.
So there's no way I can compete here if this is my bar. So we can pat ourselves on the back and celebrate we did something really great here at home. And that's beautiful because you live here, you want to do that. But in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, we're not scratching the surface. We got to do so much more at a higher level, much more efficient, much more consistent to be able to sit in the Grammy Awards and realize that's why these people got nominated.
Let's go back before L.O.U.D music. What transpired to get you here? What happened first, I guess is my real question. Was it label or management?
Label. I was in Willie D's old studio. And I was in there every day. And my boy, MC Ticket, said, hey, man, my producer, he don't have no studio. He needs somewhere that he can come work at. So I said, cool. He can come. I'm in here by myself. Studio's right there. Dope. And then also I was seeing this guy named Tim Ned. I would see him every day when I was picking up my daughter and my son from elementary school. He was the bus driver to one of the daycares. So we see each other in pass and say, what's up, yada, yada. Well, the producer that needed a studio was Tim Ned. So he walked in, I'm like, dude, I see you every day. So he started coming to the studio and it got to the point to where it was like, man, all right, let's have a hit by noon. Literally, he would drop the kids off at daycare. I was dropping my kids off at school, and we were meeting at the studio. I'd go in the office and start doing my marketing for whatever client I was working for. He'd be in the studio just making records. And I'm hearing this guy make the beat, write the song, press the button, go in the booth and record, come back out, put it together. And I'm like, it sounds like it's 7 people in there, and it's just one person. Mm-hmm. And I was working on a marketing deal for a client for like 40 grand. A guy told the client, nah, Derrick really ain't the guy that can do that, man. You probably need to, I can do this for you for about 8,000 or 9,000. So the guy was like, hey, man, I say, cool, you got it. Dude got robbed for his $9,000. And he called me back and I was like, nah, man, I'm good. And I told Tim, I think I had like $2 in my pocket. I was like, bro, here's $1. I got $1. Let's start a label. I'll be the CEO. You be the artist. You make the music. I handle the business. And he was like, what are we going to call it? And he said, man, I've always liked the name L.O.U.D. Live out your dreams. I said, L.O.U.D Music, but we'll spell it M-U-Z-I-K. June 6, 2012. Press play. We spent that next year and a half just building the team, developing the music. And then eventually we decided to launch it. But it started there with the label.
Wow. Didn't know none of this stuff. So, and I don't know that Tim is connected to you all this time until, I don't really know this until you do the record with Pimp, really, to be honest with you. I didn't know that he was connected to L.O.U.D. I don't know why. Don't ask me again. Maybe I was zoned out. But I've heard the name for the last few years, Tim's name, especially as, obviously he's a producer. So in my mind, and also in my mind, he's not from here. He's from Dallas. I don't know why this is in my mind.
So he was born in Fort Worth, and then he moved to Greece. He's a military kid.
Okay.
He lived in Greece. Then they left Greece and went to Sacramento. So he was in California for a while. Then he moved to Houston when he was like in middle school.
Okay. I wonder if he claimed Sacktown. Do he claim?
He claims Houston. He claims Houston. he tell you,
just thought I was.
He say he made Mo City, Texas.
I got you.
By way of Fort Worth, Greece, Sacramento.
Got you. Sac get a little love in there though. Okay. So also when I really get to know you, and I don't know that L.O.U.D is officially a record company. I'm thinking that it's the name of your management company, because the next time to me that you make an appearance, is I see you with Zero. And there's a lot of people who try to manage Zero and had obstacles.
What? Wherever did you hear this from?
So when I'm like, you've been the longest person that's been able to, what's a kind word? Go through the up and downs of an artist like Zero, man. So I associated with you and always secretly, quietly in my head congratulated you that you've been able to maintain somebody like Zero, which obviously people know that I just got a huge liking and love for Zero. But that's when you really came into focus, like, okay, this is the guy that's handling Zero. And I got to the point where, you can call people.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's disrespectful if you have a manager that I don't call your manager. You know what I'm saying? So I started reaching out to you if I ever needed something from Zero, unless I was just calling him as, hey, are you all right, friend? Yeah. But if I ain't doing that in this business, I just think it should be done. You know me. I'm just.
Nah, I'm with you.
I'm just different like that. I just think it's disrespectful. Yo, Zero, man, can you do me that? Nah, I call you. You be honest. Nah, he's not here that week. Now, if you ask Zero, I'll work it out. No. Derrick said that you won't that week. Yeah, but nah. The manager already says, we good? I said, no, nobody's hated here. This is business.
Yeah.
So I respect, salute to that, but I respect it. How were you able to convince a special artist like a Zero, who in his mind he's a singular character, in his business, in his life is him against the world. How were you able to have this conversation with such a Houston icon to say, you know what, Derrick, you the man for me?
So 3 people brought me and Zero together at different times. The first was my guy, June Manning. He used to manage Amy Miller and Kay Ruger and a few other people. He was working with Ro, and he brought me to the table to set up some digital marketing and some things like that. Then D-Rec was working with Ro. They was doing the Melting the Crown album. I put together the marketing strategy and the plan for that. Then I met Heavy at a Fresh Empire event, and he had Ro and Slim there. He was like, hey man, I think we should look at doing this, yada, yada, yada. Then one day, Ro sent me a DM. Hey, call me. I was like, I don't have your number. So he sent me his number. I called him. We went to lunch at the Palms, chopped it up.
Oh, yeah. Like
that. Yeah. had dinner, had a couple of drinks, shook hands, and that was it.
Walked out. I think I'm his manager.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. But I think the misconception of it all that a lot of people assume is that it's not a lot of tug of war if you know what you're doing.
I think that's people's perception that it is, that he would be hard to have a manager with.
He is one of the most intelligent people.
Oh yeah.
That
I've hung out with
several.
So
I know. That you know. And it's just that, and I tell them all the time, even in arguments, I'm like, yo, I don't give a damn. It's not my job to cater to Zero. My job is to make sure Joseph McVay is straight. If I focus on Joseph McVay, Zero is easy. You can't like be that. Zero if Joseph McVay is not in a good space. Let me make sure Joseph McVay is in a good space. And it's easy for him to go be Zero. I think too many people, and I know Heavy is still, I talk to Heavy almost every other day. And he still does a lot of work with Ro. So it's never no bad blood or anything like that.
Right.
But it's one of them things where
I'm a Heavy fan too. I like Heavy. He's a very interesting manager as well.
Yeah, resume is through the roof.
Yeah.
And I my focus is I make my decisions on what's going to work for Joseph.
Absolutely.
And in doing that, it makes it so easy for Zero to go be Zero.
Was that the same for Lil Flip?
Yeah.
Because I would have never even seen Lil Flip. I don't even see him I see Flip as the kind of guy that you might call him just to do your business. I know it shouldn't be that way, but I just see that, but I know that's not the case.
So I worked on Flip's I Can Do That single.
Really? You go back that far? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My guys, X and Judy Jones and Lil D, they were heavy in the Midwest, and they actually get all the credit in the world for breaking the record. They made it hot. I think
remember that name, Judy Jones.
Judy Jones, she's like the godmother of the Midwest when it comes to music. Everything Rap-A-Lot, No Limit, Cash Money that went through the Midwest, her hands was on it. My guy, Lil D, Dorian Washington, he's one of the biggest record executives and radio executives in the country right now. But he's always been that guy. My guy, Lucky in Indianapolis, he broke Indianapolis. X in Cleveland, Ohio. Like, I was in Houston. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think the record is probably at like 7,000 units. I don't. They was like, nah, just watch. Just watch what we finna do. And they took it and took it to the whole.
I remember the name. I don't remember some of those other people you just named. Slightly, some of them, but Judy definitely. I remember that name back in the Gap. That she was very instrumental in a lot of independent releases, doing tremendously well. I don't know if she's still in the game or not.
No, she's retired. I think she's into manufacturing CDs and merchandise and stuff like that.
Cool.
But when it came to records in the Midwest, if it didn't go through, and it's like a four-headed monster that was there. It was Judy Jones, Dorian Lil D Washington, Lucky in Indianapolis, and X in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like between those four, if they wasn't on the record, the Midwest wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. It was not happening. Even still today, a lot of the records you hear on radio, whether it's Future, Rihanna, Kanye, Drake, Dorian is the person that's doing so much of the radio.
Really? Wow.
He has a room full of plaques. You know how you go to the record store and you go through them? That's him with plaques.
Really?
Like, so I'm super proud of him. Super proud of all of them. But to create the longevity that they've created.
Absolutely.
And to not just have a glass ceiling, like, no, your career is still going up. It's scary. It's scary.
Especially in these days and times where the game has shifted so big, because now it's not a vinyl game, it's a digital social game.
Algorithms all the time. And but yeah, so I was a part of that team that worked on Lil Flip, so I can do that. And then when Flip made a change in management, he was like, well, seeing what you're doing with Ro, I need a new manager. And I was like, bet, let's meet. And January 1st, 2021, we met, put it together, and rocked and rolled.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks,
You're making a lot of moves. So you're busy being a manager. You got breakthrough new artists as well. I don't know if things are easier when you have established artists like a Zero and Flip. You know, it seems like, you know, their demand is going to be different than, you know, Mr. Khody somebody, even with Pimp. Pimp is, for all practical
Yeah.
purposes, he's an established artist. I think some people look at him, you know, because he'll have these huge breakout songs like, oh, Fat Pimp is new.
nah.
Pimp's been putting out hits for a good little minute now.
But
His energy is like one of these young kids.
I tell him he's too humble.
He is a cool cat. He's super cool. He's just super cool, man.
Yeah,
Super cool.
yeah.
Some of these guys, they're so cool. And when you meet them, you're like, man, I hope that everything this person wants to achieve, they achieve. That's another one. How'd you get hooked up with Pimp?
Let
me quit saying Pimp. Fat Pimp.
Fat Pimp. I've been knowing him for years. He was a part of a label situation in Dallas, and they had brought me in to handle some marketing, some digital stuff, and I was doing it. And our relationship got tighter then. His old management, CKB Entertainment, I'm really good friends with them as well. They Pimp was doing a tour, and Tim was Pimp's opening act on the tour. And so we just kind of all just built a relationship and got close. And I've always believed in Fat Pimp. Like, when I say believed in him, I've believed in, well, I would tell him, I say, bro, I think you're making really, really low level music. Wow. Yes, it's jamming, but you're holding back. If Fat Pimp has a hit record in the clubs today, people are like, oh, that's another hot club record. And they're going to go on about their business. I said, you're not doing anything to shake them up. You're not giving them a reason to come search you, a reason to like, what the hell is going on? And I've always just been on his neck about just pushing yourself, bro, be better. You're too good for this. His writing ability, he's a phenomenal songwriter. But he's always dumbed it down to, okay, I know I can say this, and this. And the club.
These are songs crazy. I can get the songs popping in, get that club hit, translation, makes it to radio, go on tour, start that whole thing.
Yeah, and him working with Tim as a producer is not going to give you that basic.
You talked him into that situation?
Yeah, so I said, man, listen, I got an idea. I said, I want to create a group with Tim and Fat Pimp. I said, if we could put Pharrell and 2 Chainz in a group together, this is it. And they was like, okay. I said, the group is going to be named The Art of Ratchet. These are the type of songs I want. And this is how we're going to put it together. Like, I put together the whole structure of it, the name, the album cover, some advice on certain songs and different things. Went out to LA, did some records, went out to Dallas, did some records, did some stuff here. And we put the whole project together. The project took us like 3 years to develop. So it wasn't no microwave. We're going to go in the studio for this weekend, 2 weeks, and we're going to, like, nah. From the photos to the rollout, to the branding of the name, to the artwork, to the album listening party. We did a sip and paint where everybody had to paint the album cover. Like, we put it in their head. You know, they toured with Snoop, a 4-city tour with Snoop, Gucci Mane, DaBaby, Ja Rule. They did the Toyota Center. They have never did a club show. Every show they've done has always been arenas, stadiums, theaters, actual venues. Nice. And I say it's all by design, because when you go into those venues, the crowd automatically is going to be diverse. If you do a club show and you're going on at 1 a.m, you know who's in the crowd. But at Toyota Center, everybody's in the crowd. So I've intentionally put them in those stages. So we pass up a lot of opportunities. I say, nah, man, we still building. Don't rush.
They understand it?
Oh, yeah. Because when they look at their numbers and they see the opportunities and they see the type of shows and interviews that they get, like, they've literally been on BET for the past 2 years, BET and MTV for the past 2 years with a different record. Constantly.
Does Loud Music care? I know you say you sell vinyl and everything, but are you one of those people like, our streams got to be this, or we got to be doing this on TikTok?
No.
You know, we need a TikTok hit that translates over into this so we can get the stream numbers up. How do you worry about any of that? I mean, you have to worry about it.
Do I worry? Yes. Do I care? Hell no. Because my fight today is, and you were there when I first said it, artistry over algorithms. Algorithms are you trigger the algorithms by doing certain things or saying certain things or using certain hashtags. So I looked at it from a standpoint of 13 to 24-year-old white girls are streaming 70 to 80% of all of urban music.
Really?
Why am I triggering algorithms to appeal to a 13-year-old white girl? What is it that we have to do as a culture to keep doing? What hip hop artist has had more than one viral hit on TikTok? Yeah, it's crickets. I've asked people that work for TikTok that question. They couldn't answer it. Mm-hmm. When Meg did the body challenge and hired influencers, next thing you know, Erica had the busted challenge, hired influencers. It knocks Meg's challenge out the way. Mm-hmm. Then they did the silhouette challenge. It knocked Erica's busted challenge out the way. Mm-hmm. So I compare TikTok to American Idol. So when the artist is on American Idol, they're getting millions of views and millions of votes every time that show is on. Mm-hmm. But the minute they're no longer on that show,
stops.
On TikTok, you're getting all of these views and all of these things here. And then what happens to you outside of TikTok? So now everybody's like, hey, you got to be on this playlist. And I got 2 million streams and you're scattered across all these playlists and there's no concentration in any one area. Then you wonder why they're never booked. Why they never do. Because if you got 1 million streams, you got 100 over here, 10 over there, 13 over there, 15 over there, but I want 20,000 a show. What city can I go to and get that out of? Mm-hmm. And so the system, I believe, is not even set up for us to win in it. The system is set up and designed for the ad agencies or streaming platforms to win. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's set up for the streaming platforms to win. And then with all the major labels having a large stake in the streaming platforms, they're making money from that side, they're making money from the artist side. But at the end of the day, our overhead doesn't change. Same production costs, same marketing. We got to, especially if we want to just talk about hip hop and R&B, black music. Before we can even get in the door to have the real meetings, you got to have this many views on TikTok. You got to have this many streams on this platform. You got to be on this blog. I got to jump through I got to tour. I got to be on X amount of radio stations. I got to be selling merch just to have a meeting for you to tell me how much you're not going to do for me. But if I was a rock artist who could play the guitar, whoa, that guy has potential. I think we could send him to Nashville and put him through artist development. And then we could put this kind of advance into PR. And then we can give him this kind of money to tour. And then we can give him this kind of tour support off of that potential. Fuck our potential.
Not the same.
We got to go prove it all, do all the work, do all the heavy lifting. So now you can go and put your logo on our back and carry us the rest of the way. I think that's what TikTok has done.
So as a CEO of your company, when you're talking to your artists, you care about what for them?
I care about their well-being, and I care about the integrity of who they are in their music. To where whatever you do, just be believable. It's my job. I'm going to figure it out. I saw something really, really dope that the head coach of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, said that he's fired coaches who felt like they couldn't coach a player up. That if a player couldn't play his position the right way, he had all the skills, the intangibles, but he wasn't doing something right, they would cut him. And he was like, no, that's why you're the coach. I feel like that's why I'm the CEO. That's why the artists have their managers. That's why we have other executives. So if certain things, the artists just be believable. Just be whoever you decide you're gonna be. Skyra, if you're wearing purple and green hair and you're dressed like a tomboy with heels on, we're gonna make sense of this and give this to the world. That's our job. And we've noticed that our following has drastically it's increasing. But people are following us for actually who we are and what we do. They're not following us for a new joke or a new gimmick or a new dance.
I feel that.
So now we're actually building a really solid foundation.
What's the most difficult thing for Mr. Derrick as it relates to artists or having a label during this era that we're in? What's the most difficult? And that could be anything. It doesn't have to be about this era or TikTok or anything like that.
The most difficult thing for me is my personal beliefs of putting culture over currency. I think right now we are designed to self-sabotage and self-destruct. and we get millions of dollars. I was told by a radio station that, man, if y'all did trap music, you know, y'all, it'd have been the way y'all work. If y'all was doing some trap records, it'd have been on, do some drills. Like, so I have to rap about killing our people. Skyra's not fit to get on stage and twerking a thong. She's not selling her ass on a record. She's not waving guns. That's not Khody. That's not Tim. That's not what we want. That's not who we are. That's not who, I don't believe in that. But it seems like the more ignorant you are, the more you're celebrated. There's not, I don't know of any that I can name off the top of my head other than my guy, Big Said with the industry cosign, who actually writes for Black Enterprise as well. What Black-owned media outlet in music reports about music? All the hip hop blogs only talk about hip hop artists in beef, in drama, in relationships. They're not know who's discovering the next big thing. Why can't we find another Chris Brown? Why can we keep getting Adele records 10, 15 years later, but we can't get another Jill Scott? Why can't we get new Sam Smith, a new Ed Sheeran, but we can't get a new Tank? We can't get a new Avant. We can't get a new Usher. Like, why is it that we're not allowed to be unapologetically Black and proud and in love and happy? All of our...
Be able to monetize it and live.
Yeah, but we have to monetize our drama, our pain, our pity, our woe is me's, or our sorrows. We didn't have this, or I couldn't get this. My teacher didn't like me. I had to get it out the mud. Oh, and keeping going back to my original point, this is all being triggered for 13 to 24-year-old white girls. I look at it as the modern day minstrel show. We're our own blackface. So we're performing for a white audience who gets to sit back and live through our trauma in their gated community. And like, yes, we're going to keep buying tickets to the show. We're going to keep paying for it because this is entertainment.
And so the companies keep on signing it and giving you money for it to keep the minstrel show.
If a label signed and put $1 million behind a young up-and-coming R&B soul singer singing about love and relationships and happiness, you know how many other artists would say, hey,
let's start doing
this because this can get us a deal.
Yeah.
But
I've heard Tank say that.
Tank said it best.
Yeah, he did say it nice.
It's not they're not scared of our strength. No, what did he say? They're more afraid of our love than our hate. Like, if we gave the world another record, another Public Enemy, the other artists like, wait a minute, we could start to think on this level and start to give that kind of music.
I'm kind of surprised that they ever really allowed it to go as far as it did with Chuck D and Public Enemy, Flavor Flav and the rest. And I think because it was making money for him at the time.
That's it.
But I have not seen another group make it to that level that was spitting that kind of information.
I was told by an A&R rep for Universal Records, a white guy, they don't want another strong Black man in the offices like that. I said, Derrick, you know too much. Came back to the hotel and told me. He was like, man, they're trying to figure out if you sell drugs. They're trying to figure it out, bro. They said, but I brought you to the table. I told them that you didn't. He said, but he felt like the fear is they don't want anybody else.
They already got the ones that they let in.
And they're fine with that. And they're good with that. We have the ones we can control. I walked into the meeting and they said you were from Houston, Texas. No grill, no double cup.
They said that to you?
Yes. And I laughed. I said, so that either means you love Houston or you're extremely stereotypical. I'm gonna go with the first one. Yeah. I said, I'm gonna assume you guys just love Houston. It changed the whole tone of the meeting.
Well, now you've changed it. And this is gonna sound bad. And you also, because of your enlightenment, you hurt that meeting.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to act a particular way with you and talk a particular way. But they have shut off. As soon as you said that, they shut the door mentally to anything you had to say.
Exactly. And when I'm in those meetings and I notice these things, I'm very intentional.
Absolutely.
And because I don't never want to feel as though you think I'm gonna come here and shuck and jive and tap dance for you when I know your staff don't know what I know. Your staff can't do what I do. I overly understand the value that my team brings to your company and your situation.
Well, they feel like no matter what you feel like you can do or that you can do, they have enough money to get done what they need to get done anyway.
And they do. And damn it, they do. They got the money.
Even if they don't know half of what you know.
And
they got the connections. They've been playing this game on that level because it's his cousin.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's family related.
So regardless of how much business we can get done, that's not going to supersede my nephew that runs this company over here. And I was telling my guy who's with a major national media outlet the other day, they wanted me to speak on 2 topics, Kanye and Takeoff, and I declined. I said I don't want to speak on it. And I said because the way you guys are shaping the story, I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, man, there's not any other business. I said, with us, let's say you get this $1 million advance from the record company. And then that's your marketing budget. Then you got to go spend your marketing budget with all of these platforms. The same person that owns the record company, the same person that is the same people that own the platforms. They're related. They're cousins, they're nephews. They went to college together. They vacation together in the Hamptons. I said, so I'm in the middle. I said, where do I win?
You don't. This is the game that's been played for eons.
And now we're in the beauty of this generation is we have a lot of young people that are bold enough to step up and say something.
Yeah.
We have the fervency and zeal to say, hey man, this shit ain't right, y'all. Y'all see what y'all doing to us? This ain't cool. Why? How I gotta pay back this loan and still don't own anything that I just paid back? But it's in a very long way of answering the question, that's the struggle of being a CEO today.
Gotcha.
That's the struggle of being a CEO because you're stepping on a basketball court. It's supposed to be 5-on-5, but the refs in their pocket. The both owners are homeboys and they already know that they need you to take this loss.
Yeah, they already know the outcome of the game.
But
and
somehow, some
you're
way,
in there naively playing the game hard, and they already know that you ain't gonna win regardless of how hard you play.
And that's, man.
What's been the good side then? What's the upside for you?
The upside of it for me is, I love all the bad shit that I just said. I love being in those moments. I love the hunt. I love the challenge. I love the aggressiveness. I love putting my back against the wall. Put me in that tough spot. Put me in that position where I gotta figure it out. I'm cool with that. I love that. I have fun in those moments. I love hearing the artists create something new. I love seeing the video come to life. I love seeing my artist reaction the first time they hear their song on the radio. First time Skyra saw herself on BET after these years of hard work she's been putting in prior to us. And now, here you go. That.
Special shout out to her too. At TSU, they had a rained out event. It was totally rain out there. And she was performing 20,000 was in front of her, man. I'm like, okay, I see.
So when there's that moment where she's performing in front of 20,000 people, it won't be new to her.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
That's the beauty of it, watching these things happen, man. Watching in the Netherlands, we're at a liquor store in the Netherlands. And me and Tim are there, and the lady look at her phone, she look at Tim, she look at her phone, she look at Tim, but we looking around like, oh shit. we're a little ways from home. And she say, are you Tim Ned? And he was like, yeah. She said, I bought tickets to see you tomorrow at 3:00. Can I take a picture?
Wow.
And we like, what? We get off the plane in Japan, they sitting there holding posters. We like, what is this? We walking down the street after the festival, the little kids say, hey, Tim, Mr. Cool, Casual, Sexy, can we take a picture? And Tim is like, yeah, come on. Next thing you know, we see 60 kids running. We like, wait a minute, time out.
Right.
So it's those moments, man, you cannot pay for them. You just cannot pay for them. That's why I love we so focused, you can be so focused on the destination of where you want to be to where you don't even pay attention to the journey. So I love that we're actually experiencing the journey, the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the getting to the club and there's only 8 people in there. Like, okay, cool, rock out. We finna do the full show. This is a paid rehearsal. Rock out.
He said a paid rehearsal.
Like, do your thing.
Yeah.
Kill it. Because those 8 people gonna get on their phone. We're gonna take pictures with all 8 people. We're gonna follow them back on social media. We're gonna make everybody who didn't come feel like they missed the opportunity of their life.
Right.
Then it also, when you go to you do a show in Oklahoma and you open it for Slim, Kiki, Snoop, and then you got this group that's on stage where by the end of the show, the whole crowd, they done got up out their seats. They done moved to the front of the stage, and now it's 4,000 people cheering, and the festival promoters are like,
what's going on? Who we didn't know that much about these guys.
And I just like, man, listen, I let y'all know it's very difficult to go. I don't care who it is. You can't go behind our artists. And unless you have a bunch of hits that everybody's just going to know, you can't go behind. Nobody's performing after Skyra. You're not going on stage after Khody or the Art of Ratchet. And it's beautiful. Like, it's intentional. Yes, let us go first. Let us go first. So those are the things, man, we have a ball with it.
You're also a teacher. You might not see it that way. And the reason why I bring that up is because you have a conference that you do. And, you know, I've been to your conferences, and it's funny. I was just going there because I knew you, and I'm like, I don't know why this guy is doing a music conference in the year. I said, but I'm gonna support him. I hope some other people show. and I was surprised, and I kept telling you. And I know you thought I was like, how does stripping? Because I didn't think music conferences mattered anymore because we live in this digital social age. And what I even learned something outside of what the conference was all about. What I learned is people still want information, and they still want to be in front of people. It's still important, but you forget that in this digital social world that, you know, we can just get in front of our computers and everything comes to us. Cause I'm like, man, Derrick really got a nice hotel here. Wow, he got how many rooms? Oh my God. Man,
his brother gonna be sleeping on the couch.
I hope he got some good sponsors, man. I'm like, I just didn't understand your vision. I mean, I understood the vision because, you know, they used to have these great conferences back in the day. But I'm like, these young kids don't need this, or they don't appreciate that. So they're not going to be there. And then, you know, as soon as you open the door, I'm like, where's all these people come from? It was like, I'm thinking I'm going to be there reading all day, just chilling. I got to keep shaking hands and, yeah, you can do this and explain stuff to people. I'm like, this is wild. I'm like, man, I'm really happy for Derrick. He has vision. He sees stuff that probably other people don't see. Like, he knew that there was a need for information for people who want to still be in this thing called the music business.
Yes.
And they want to learn about it. And let me just also mention, because of all of your years of meeting this person, you had major people come sit down and were willing to talk to all these freshmen to the game, so to speak. So BET was in the building. I'm like, man, I don't know how Derrick is pulling this off. He had these podcasters there. He had radio stations that were not even of the city that were willing and able and going to play some of these folks' music that never had opportunity
performing live
nowhere
on air,
else.
right there.
And it was crazy. But it was like almost being a father. Like, you felt this enormous sense of pride. Like, I'm so happy for Derrick. I'm so proud. I'm like, I know you thought I was tripping because I pulled you to the side. Like, Derrick, man, this is great. I'm so happy for you. I probably told you that like 100 times, but I really was. That first one I went to, I'm like, this is crazy. I didn't know people still needed this.
I know it's needed because I needed it. And so I looked at it like, if we're viewed as this type of label and we've had this success and I need this,
Think about
damn, how many other people need this?
And the conference officially is called
the L.O.U.D Radio and Press Junket.
Okay.
And what sets this apart than any other conference or convention I've ever been to, everybody who comes leaves with more than what they ever could have paid for. Everybody who comes. There's not a place in the country where an independent artist with a brand new song can walk into a room and do 80 interviews. And if you have your video done and you meet the requirements, so you have to meet a certain requirements to even get into the event. So you have to have original music, be registered with BMI or ASCAP. You got to have a clean version to your song and video. You got to have a press kit. You got to have high resolution photos.
I didn't even know all that.
So every artist that came through there met
ready.
all of those requirements.
Wow.
So if anybody gave you an opportunity, you was ready for it.
You know what's so cool? For me, what made that the last conference cool, I said, you know what? Because a lot of times people still expect me to do interviews and talk. I said, you know what? I have all these students at my disposal. Why don't I just throw them in the game? And they got frightened at first because you got, you had like some, notable superstars coming out there being a part of it too. So I'm like, wow, there's Lil Flip. He coming to your table next. Who gonna talk to him? You. Yeah. How? This is what you want to do with your life as a communicator. So I use it as an opportunity for these kids to these are not, don't look at them as stars and they just that. Your job is to get information out of them.
Yep.
What are they here for? What do you want to know about them? What do you want to learn about the artist? Here, get to it. I didn't tell them how to do anything. I said, this is what you want to do with your life.
The cool
I
thing,
had mine.
The cool thing about it
So thank you.
No, thank y'all. Because what I explain to the media that's there, I say, you know how much original content you're about to get?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if I'm a platform and I need content, I can come, one outlet, Always Press Record. They had like 130 plus interviews.
Right.
He said, Derrick, I can drop a different interview every week for the next 2 years from this one event.
Not even going, exactly.
And
it was great.
Then artists can post a different platform every week
of themselves. So and I don't even know if that was your purpose.
Yes,
I don't know if the purpose was for people to get information.
It's all by design.
But it's good. It helps me as the radio if I'm still working radio. Yeah. If I have a podcast, if I have a radio station, if I need digital information to share with people, it works for me. And then I can also get this digital digital
I
assets.
send out
for
weekly
for
emails leading up to the event to everybody who registered. Say, hey, you want to have a camera person with you. Buy a ticket for your camera person so you can get photos and videos behind the scenes. Then you want to take a picture and a photo and to get video of each and every media outlet. You post that to your social media and you tag them in it. Then you also want to take your lead single and put it as the background music on every one of your posts. So now if any of those platforms reshare that post, now your music. So I'm sending them emails of what to do every week. If you show up smelling like weed or alcohol, you're not let in and your ticket is terminated. How much weed did you smell in the building?
No, I didn't. Your events have been so, they're really about business. Yeah. So I don't even know if that happened, I would know. You know what I'm saying?
It's in the email. If you're turned away because you smell like drugs or alcohol, your ticket is null and void, and you will not be reimbursed.
Wow, see, I didn't even know that.
So I'm letting them know. Don't call any. Don't be casual. It's yes, sir. It's no, sir. You introduce yourself.
No, they came out there ready. I mean, they came out there ready, man. I was very surprised, and I'll be honest with you, it's back to back. It was back to back, so it was great for me as a newly being able to be at this university and give. These college students an opportunity to sit right across from the big radio station, and they're doing the same thing you're doing. It was great, and it was exciting for them. Man, I get to talk to such and such, and they're like, "What about this guy? I don't know anything about him." Learn. I said, because you don't know this guy or this girl sitting next to you could be the next one,
the next big thing,
and you have this original interview that nobody else in the world will have.
So it's an unfortunate truth, but at the last one, there was a guy there, FBG Cash, and he's from Chicago, and he did all the media. He's pretty big in the Midwest. Unfortunately, he got murdered 2 days after the event.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about the mathematics on it.
He went home. He was supposed to fly back home, stay at home one day, and then head out to L.A. to record.
Wow.
He flew back home and ended up in the Chicago beef thing that they've been having for years. But saying that to say, it's unfortunate, but all of those small up-and-coming media outlets and platforms and everybody, they have the last interview.
Wow.
So
not saying that you need to come prepared because death could happen and you get the last interview.
But never
your point
know.
Is that you never know who might be the next big one, up and coming artist,
or where the story is going to come from.
Will be there because they want to take advantage of it as well. It's cool to get all these podcasters and different outlets. And what I also like about it, and then I'm gonna move on to the other stuff that you're doing. I like that you also gave these up and coming podcast folks opportunity as well, because some of them needed the opportunity to learn how to spread their wings.
Yep.
And they need access to artists and information too. So it's really a two-folded kind of like deal.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's why this event works so well.
So another
Thank
salute
you.
on that, man.
I appreciate it.
I didn't see the importance of it until I was in the building. Then I'm like, when I was there, then I was like, oh, now I get it. But I had to be there to get it. Like
now, the next one in June,
crazy. The last one was kind of crazy. They're getting bigger and bigger now, Mr. D. I don't know.
It's a controlled chaos.
It is. All of it was very controlled. It's just so big. I'm one of those kind of people. I like to stop and go walk around and get into the different things. It was kind of hard for me to do that because when you're there, people want information. I've done it for so long. They want information from me. So I don't get the chance to walk around and be nosy because people like, no, what do I need to do
for the last one? Here, there, and I turned the ticket sales off.
Really? It was big. Again, man.
Thank you.
That's a crazy.
When you can put 600 indie artists in a room that meet all of those qualifications, that are prepared, and one of the great things about the ones who don't have their stuff together, when they say, "Hey, but I don't have these things," I send them an email. This is the website you go to get a free EPK. This is the website you go to register here. So go get the information and come back.
The good thing about it too, and I will say this, not truly, even if you don't get a chance to go, the information that you gave them that you were communicating is still so invaluable that it's still a win.
The only way we'll change our industry in Houston, because for some reason we're not known for the music business. You can kick it, you can party, you can have fun. We got women, we got the best places to eat, you got the nightlife, all of that. But we're not known to come here and do a deal.
Wow.
So we have to change the mindset of everybody. So the media outlets, y'all have to operate a certain way. Artists, you have to operate a certain way. And if we both are all operating the same way and on the same page, it's going to be easy to break music. It's going to be easy to get things done.
Your festival that you also do as well. And you've been doing this festival.
This will be the 4th year.
Yeah, for a minute, man. And how do I say this? You set the sights very high on what you do. And oftentimes I'm like, I don't really know how Derrick is pulling this stuff off. I always find it interesting. I find you to be very interesting. I don't know how you pull off some of these things because oftentimes you see these people that have to have, they're connected with our heart to bring in this concert with this big thing in this field and these different people. And you oftentimes can do this even with a lot of unknown artists and it still be a pretty big affair. I'm not really sure how you pull this off, but you do. Another salute.
We have an amazing team, bro. Like, I can come up with all the harebrained ideas and schemes that I want to, but I can do that because I have the luxury of knowing I'm gonna get in this group chat or this Zoom call or a meeting with 8-9 people that I can disseminate information to, and it's gonna happen. It's by no shape, form, or fashion a one-man show. I'm able to think freely and come up with stuff and execute them because I know Mayoshi is going to make sure X, Y, and Z is done. Bradley is going to be on top of this. David is going to do this. Stacey and Hilo going to make sure this over here. Bliss, I need this right up. I need this. K. Rich and Dwayne, make sure they're over here. Like, I know these things are going to happen. So I have that trust in our team that things will happen the way they need to that allow me to do what I do. So
as you say that, tell me about this music festival you're going to have.
So, we had this amazing festival in Houston, Free Press Summerfest, for years. They wouldn't return a call. They wouldn't respond to an email or nothing. And so I said, okay, well, I can't just not be on a festival. So let's build one. And we did the first one at Fox Hollow. With 100 artists signed up to perform. We had like 380 people show up. Mm-hmm. Then the next one, we had like 600 and some people. Then, no, I'm sorry. The first one, we had like 600 people. The second one, we did at White Oak. We did 4,800 people that day, throughout the day. Wow. Then the third one, we did at Wildcatter Saloon in Katy. And that was the first time we did a 2-day event. And we had Zero and Baby Bash headline that Sunday, Lil Flip and Lil Kiki headline Saturday, but we also had close to 200 artists perform on different stages throughout the weekend. Mm. And the cool part about it is 60 to 70% of all the artists come from out of Texas.
Really? Wow.
Like, it's crazy how many people come from out of state for our events. And I just wanted the opportunity for artists to be on a real festival. Like, not a showcase, not a talent show, real lights, real sound, real stage, and merchandise where we got the hoodies with everybody's name on the back of it, posters, flyers. Mm-hmm. They get the real festival experience. And again, they got to meet the requirements. Original music only, press kit. We got some cool partners that's going to be there this year. Live Mixtapes is coming. Audio Mac is coming. Pandora's coming, SiriusXM is coming, Boost Mobile is our title sponsor. So you're performing in front of peers. You'll be opening for dope artists. Every artist, you'll perform in front of 700-800 people at any given time throughout the weekend. And I wanted artists to feel like this is what it feels like when you're on tour, when you're doing major festivals. Because when you get that feeling and you see how it's handled, then you should operate that way moving forward in everything.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's my way of, hell, it promotes the hell out of my label. To have this many artists around the country all posting flyers and videos talking about L.O.U.D music and L.O.U.D Fest, it introduces our label across the country. Mm-hmm. But then also it puts our artists in front of this many new eyes and ears. And at the same time, I'm doing whatever small part I can to change the industry and the culture that we have right now in our music.
Good luck on that. What's the date on the?
December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay. So that's happening real quick.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah. So what can people do if they need to get like information to be artists to perform on it, or they just want to get tickets?
They go to loudfesthtx.com.
Okay, just that simple.
loudfesthtx.com, and you can get the hotel information if you come from out of town. You can get ticket information. You can get the artist information. If you're a producer and want to be in a producer battle, or a DJ in the DJ battle, or an artist in the hit for hit battle, all of that's there.
Now, you're an incredible entrepreneur. I don't know why it seems like almost everyone I talk to seems to have, no matter what they do, there's an entrepreneurial spin. So I always ask people what, in their vision, what has success or what is success to them?
I want to make history. Like, I've never chased money. I've never been the guy, secure the bag. I can care less. I don't keep track of everything that's spent. I don't keep track. Like, in some people are like, oh, that's bad business practice. I am a true believer that if I set out and make the history that I'm going to make, money won't be a question. Like, I feel like we get so short-sighted and focused on the dollar right now, we don't even give ourselves a full shot because we're only working as far as that dollar. We're not like, yo, I'm gonna go all the way and just see where I end up at. And that's, man, I gotta make history. When they say Clive Davis, Steve Stout, Barry Gordy, Russell Simmons, I need the world to say Derrick McKinney. That I can't, I wanna discover country artists in Texas, and I want to have the first Black record executive who's the head of a country music division. I want to discover EDM artists, top 40, pop, indie rock. We're not just a hip hop label. We're not just an urban label. So my focus, especially in 2023, we revamped our whole infrastructure for 2023. All the artists already have new photos, new content. We're already set from January 1 to August 1 for 2023 for music, videos, photos, social media strategies. I want to be legendary. And I know if I do it, the perks will come with it. But more so than anything, man, I want my name. I want to be in history books. That's what drives me, the success. I want to be the best. Nothing. I'm a sore loser. Like, you know, I can't. I don't want to. Man, I hate mediocrity. I don't want to be. I'm not into just being the cool scene or, oh yeah, y'all pulled up over here. Like, nah. I want to be able to pull up to the Grammys and somebody's opening my door and everybody knows, oh, that's Derrick. Did you see what they just did? You see what this artist done? I think, and everybody that I name, they've created icons. So it's very selfish. But in order for me to be who I want to be, it's only right that I make Khody who he's supposed to be. Zero who he's supposed to be. Flip even further than where he's been. That's how I get what I want.
Well, let me just say this. I wanted to ask that question, but I know that there's already success that you live in, so you live in success right now. So again, man, I just salute you in all of it, man. I think you're paving that path. That's another reason why I like to do these, because to me, you're already successful. You've already done things. Even if you stop today, you may not achieve that name, but you have still reached a certain level of success. I know you still got far you want to for real, but we're in your office where you've done it your way. So man, I commend you, man. I appreciate your time too, because I know you could be doing. There's some people probably calling you right now. So your phone been going off the whole time we've been talking. So I appreciate it.
As a kid growing up in Houston, Texas, listening to Mad Hatter Morning Show, to be able to sit here and talk to you, man, this is iconic for me. This is one of them things that I can say, like, listen, my career, I was able to achieve this in Houston. Like, you don't grow up in this city you don't grow up in this city, period, without knowing or listening to you. And you've been the soundtrack and the voiceover to our morning drives to school, to work, to everything. So to be able to sit here and even have this conversation with you, man, like this is a huge accomplishment within itself, man.
This is nice for you to say, man. But I salute you, man. You're doing incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff. So thank you.
No, man, I appreciate it, man.
McKinney,
thanks for having me.
CEO, L.O.U.D Music in the building. Thank you, brother.